Hiya guys, again, I'm sorry, must apologise. That part 5, it was going on for too long. It ended up being, I think it was 41 minutes long, so it was too long. So what I've done is I chopped it there, as you see, then you'll see the wording at the end, and I've decided to make a part 6 of the same sort of milling tools, holders, cutters, blah blah blah. So I'm going to carry on with that now. I've got the footage done, so I've just come back in to sort of apologise here, and I will get it out as quick as I can. I'm hoping to upload that part 5 tonight, which is it, the 3rd? So I'll look. Where are we? Yeah, Monday 3rd of January. It's nearly 9:05 at night, and I'm hoping to get part 5 uploaded, and while I'm doing that I'll start editing part 6, and hopefully I'll get that up tonight as well, although I don't know, I'm doubtful. As you'll know, if you're doing HD video, in fact we'll have a quick talk about that. If you're doing HD video, it uploads at A speed. If you do 720, it uploads quite quickly. I think Aid's Workshop, he's talked about it before, because he's just got himself an HD camera, so he'll find out. So HD is great, and I think for YouTube it's good enough, it's clear enough. I know I have focus problems sometimes and jumpy video and things, but that's me not setting things up properly. I've done 4K, but to be honest with you, YouTube don't really appreciate 4K too well. I suppose if you're doing loads of close-up work, you might get a benefit from it, but I've got a 4K video screen in there, and I think it's 27 inches my screen on my monitor, my computer, and it's a good monitor, and if I run 4K on it from YouTube and watch the footage that I've done, it's no clearer, isn't 4K, than HD 1080. However, you do 4K, guys, and it takes forever to upload. Something that would take maybe an hour probably take more like 3 or more hours to upload. And then even when it's finished, it'll say that it's got a problem and it hasn't finished properly, but then when you click it out, go away from it and come back, it said it's complete and done. So we'll move on to part 6. Enjoy. Thank you. Right, I've got an assortment of different measuring sort of equipment. Most of this, well, some of it you don't need, some of it you really do. If you've got a milling machine, or you're going to get a milling machine, one thing I would say was definite is a good square. In fact, just hang on a second, I'm going to show you a square, or some squares. So just be careful. I bought this set online, and when I opened it I thought, oh wow, what a lovely little set, look at that. Not one of them is square, every single one of them is out. I mean, that one, you can even see it's out, that thing. Absolutely hopeless, and you can't do much about it because they've been made like that. I tried knocking one back to get angle right, but I give up in the end and I throw them back in box in disgust. Pile of dung. So this is an old one I've had for many years, and any of you that are pros and amateurs even like me will know a Raybone Chesterman is a good one. Very, very old, but very, very accurate and very good. You'll need one of them. If you're going to square things up on your milling table, you're going to need a square. I can't say you won't need one, because you will. You definitely will need a square. Angle finder, that's just a very, very cheap one bought from my local car accessory shop. Little protractor, and you can find angles with it, and it works. Another cheap way is a level box, which I've seen lots of YouTubers use. A little level box, and they're quite good. You just stick it on a piece of work, you can find your angle. If you want 45 degrees, you adjust it till you get your 45 degrees. I haven't got any angle blocks, and it's something I do need. And I think I've seen somebody make one. Don't know if it was John. But I've got some V-blocks, I bought these for £2 each, and I thought, wow, what a bargain. But not such a bargain really, because one of them split. And I didn't notice it till I got it home and cleaned it up. You know, I can't see it now, but one of these has got a split in it. There, I think there's a split there. It still works. Okay, if you want to just put something in. There seem to be a match pair, so they seem reasonably accurate. Little DTIs. I've got generally quite a few of these, various different types. Some are not very good. That one's knackered. It doesn't always go back to zero, and that's a rare plunger one. But you will need, if you're doing things on the lathe, various little... Again, that's not a very good one. That's same. Most of them are old. The only ones that are, seem to be alright and accurate are the cheap import ones, and they seem all good. A mag stand. Obviously, if you're going to do work, you'll need a mag stand. And that's another type that I've got. Well, that never goes back to the same spot. It's got a mind of its own, so that's another load of crap. Public car booty, I think it was £2.50, I think. No good. I think most of these, if you want a good one, you're going to save up and buy one. Mag stands are alright. I mean, that's just a cheap mag stand, but it works. So, handy to have a mag stand. One lovely thing I bought, and I don't regret this, and I've used it 2 or 3 times, and you might have seen me using it. And I think a lot of YouTubers have them, and they're a lovely thing to have. You can buy them from cheap to expensive. This was a mid-range one. Nice new fresh cup of coffee, Kenco. This is from Machine DRO, and it's a centering indicator, which again, if you've never seen one, you put that into your quill, you put a little holding bar and rest that against the knee somewhere so that it can't turn, so it's resting on it with that facing you, and you set it going. You put different fingers in for different diameter bars. You can do inside bar, you can do outside bar. Great little thing. One thing I have noticed that some people or YouTubers that I've watched using one of these is they made the same mistake that I made. When you buy it, it comes with that clipped on there. You take that off, you don't need it. It's a transit block, because this thing needs to go up and down. It's part of how it works. If you leave that on, you want to get a limited amount of turn on here. It limits the amount it'll go. It'll only do a few revolutions, whereas with it off, it'll go right down. Just thought I'd mention that. Anybody who's got one, don't forget to take the ring off. Again, I can't remember how much it was. It wasn't cheap, but it's absolutely lovely. And say it comes with all different size fingers. There's long fingers, short fingers, inside radius, outside radius. It's brilliant. They really are good. You move your X and Y table until you get it absolutely bang on, and it is. It's lovely. Let's see. One of the shorter ones. That's a shorter one, look. They're all in a little foam case. Again, lovely little case. If any of you watch John's Workshop, or any of you don't watch John's Workshop, punch it in on YouTube, go and have a look at John's Workshop. He's done one of his series where he's bought this foam, and there's a name for it, and you cut it all out, put your tools in. That's actually come like that, and it's great because it holds everything in a little box. And he's done some various trays and storage cabinets with it to hold various things like calipers and things, micrometers, etc. Move that over there. 1, 2, 3 blocks. These are only cheap ones. They're reasonably accurate, they seem to do the job. They're threaded, every now and then you've got a threaded hole so you can use it as a fixture. I got 2 of them, they came together from abroad. Again, they weren't expensive, but they're really handy to have if you're going to be doing fixture work on your milling machine bed, on your table. Probably a good thing to have. Again, if you're starting out and you buy a milling machine, you'll need some sort of holding fixture to go into your taper, or whatever it might be if it's R8, and some sort of a collet chuck. You can't use a standard drill chuck, don't even think about it, for holding milling cutters. There's not enough support. So buy yourself an ER collet chuck. Probably the bigger the better. I mean, I think the 42 is probably the best size, but as I say, when my milling machine came, it came with 25, and that's what I've got. I'm not going to start buying all new, because I can use it on the lathe as well now. So yeah, a must would be an ER collet chuck and some sort of fixture, which we'll have a look at in a minute on the mill. And then you would obviously need various cutters. You start out and just buy, I don't know, 3 or 4 different sizes of cutters, milling cutters, and try it, start playing around, get used to using it. They're quite an aggressive piece of kit, so if you're going to buy a milling machine recently, soon, whenever, just be careful when you do. They're an angry thing and they can rip your arm off. They can be quite aggressive. I'd never take heavy cuts. Excuse me, need a drink. If you go on YouTube, I don't know, look at somebody like Tormac Tools or some big industrial ones, Haas, they're using milling machines. I mean, there's one, I think it's 350 horsepower, and they're cutting stuff like you've never seen, and it cuts like butter. The table alone must weigh 1.5 tons, and hobby mills aren't like that. So if you buy a little hobby mill, don't start showing off of how good it'll cut, because if you start cutting too deep, and I have done, I'm you know, one of my own worst enemies for it. I've done it, and they jam up, and you don't like it. Take nice shallow cuts, don't go stupid, don't go too aggressive, and you'll get there, and when you're finished you'll be right pleased with what you've done. It's a good addition after a lathe to buy, and you'd need a minimum of tooling. We'll swing round in a second and we will show you something else that you probably do need, really. So something else that are handy to have, and if you're going to have a vise on there, which is what I'm going to show you, you're going to need some sort of parallels. Now, again, I bought these second hand, and they're into full range of them, but they are fairly accurate, and they come as pairs. So that's a pair. That's just a little piece I had. That's a pair. Whether these have been homemade, I don't know. Yeah, looking at that, I'm suspicious these are homemade. Somebody's made them, look. But no matter the work, they do the job great. So you can't beat the parallels. I'm 2 missing, actually. I don't know where they are. I've got 2 missing. Oh well, they'll turn up. So set of parallels to get your work level, parallel in your jaws of your chuck. Again, sorry, of your vise, not your chuck. Again, look on YouTube, loads of people showing you how to use them. I'm not showing you how to use your gear, I'm just showing you what I've got and some of the things you probably will need. And a set of parallels are going to be handy. 1, 2, 3 blocks are going to be handy. Make yourself a list. A centre finder, not necessary. You can use you can use a centre finder like that, little cheap and cheerful thing. Buy them off eBay. I don't know, tenner. I don't know how much that was, but yeah. And again, go on YouTube. People will show you how to use it. I've done a few videos showing you using it. I've done one actually showing you video at DRO took with my little GoPro and one on the machine using this so you can see it doing it. And that isn't expensive. That is expensive. You can always make excuses. I do regularly, and I'm sure a lot of you do. I haven't bought anything for myself for ages. I need to treat myself. So you go on eBay, don't you, and have a look. Right, I'm going to knock this off, spin round, set up and show you on the table. So, a vise. You're going to need a vise. You don't have to have one, because if you want, you can just buy some T-nuts and I'll show you that, a clamping set, and you can actually clamp your work directly onto your table. Nice vise. This is a cheap Chinese one, bought from Acme Thread in the UK. That opens up quite wide, for something like 5 1/4, 5.5 inches. It's 4-inch jaws. They're pretty accurate. I stripped this down and I've done a video on this if you want to watch it. When I first bought it, I completely gutted it, fettled it all up, got all the burrs and things off and put it on the table and got it all working. And it's been great. It really is a good little vise. I say little, it's not little, is it? But a vise really is a must. And when I was showing you the parallels, most of you are going to know this, but there's going to be people watching this video for years to come, I guess, that are looking at buying stuff, because when I wanted a milling machine and a lathe, I absolutely went mad on YouTube looking at videos, wanting to see what's what and what to do and what to buy and which is good and which is not. So yeah, any of you that are looking at things like this, you've got yourself a vise, you want to put a piece of work in there, whatever that might be, and I've no examples really to show you, but your piece of work to put in there, and you put your parallels in, sit your work in there so it doesn't disappear. So if you want to shave the top off, mill the top off something, you put your parallels in, put your work in, tap it down, make sure it's accurately put in. I'm not going through that with you because I've done all that on other videos. This video is not to show you how to do something, just showing you what is ideal to have for a milling machine. So that lovely little vise. I have got over there another vise. It just reminds me of something else I need to show you. This is that's an Abwood. Now that's a really good vise, and it came free with my milling machine, with a lovely spanner that somebody's made as well. That is an Acme Thread. The one I've just shown you, my Chinese one, is just a standard sharp thread. Acme threads are very strong. Right, it's also got in here gib strips, adjustable, so it's very accurate, and when you tighten that up really tight, it is really tight. That one is, but not as good as that. That has got a hell of a grip. Unfortunately, it only opens up 3 1/4 inches. It doesn't open up enough to get a decent piece of work in. So I took it off and I fitted the little Chinese one. If I ever need to do anything what's going to be aggressive and jumping about, I'll put that back on. It's on a 2 T-nuts, and I've got those T-nuts. T-nuts. I'm going to knock this off and move this belt sander out of the way. So T-nuts, work holding. I'm sure all the lads that are subscribers to my channel have got one of these, and the great thing to have, that came free again. When I bought that milling machine, the guy gave me this. You've got all the different threaded, they do various ones of these, I believe, they do different sizes. What's that, M10, 12, maybe 12. But I think they do go up to 14 as well, the larger ones for your big milling machines. But you get all sorts of different work holding feature stuff for it. In that, like that pair, so you can put your work in. Put a threaded bar and a T-nut into your bed and tighten down to your work. All for work holding, but really good. Really good. Again, they're an import, they're not I don't think they're made in this country. Rough and ready, but absolutely great. And look at the size of that. It goes up to all different sizes. And there's a selection of T-nuts, the top nuts and the shouldered nuts, so they're quite good. You don't have to start putting washers on or anything. They're the original ones, studs for my Abwood vise that I've just kept, obviously. Work holding, really good. I've got a selection of all sorts of T-nuts and things that I've made and fettled and for holding down onto my rotary table. I've also got to say that 6-inch rotary table, I've made a lot of different centres for that, but again, there's videos on that. Measurements. Just see if you're going to see that. No, let's come back a bit. This is Michitoyo height gauge with a hardened what do they call that, carbide finger for doing marking out and scribing. That Michitoyo, I think, see the size of it, 400, yeah, it's 18 inch. It's 18 inch to there. Yeah, nice thing. I'll tell you a story about them in a minute. This one, that's your bad boy, Michitoyo. That you wind up and down with the wheel at the end. Again, a hardened carbide finger on it. Extremely accurate piece of equipment. How tall is it? Well, I think if that's at the top, then I can only go to the finger, can't I? So it's a 12-inch one, just over 12.5 inch is that, which I think if I turned it on, I think it was 300 and something. Yeah, 12.6 inches that. Where are we? There's that many buttons on this and I've not used it. I'm going to leave it alone, I'm going to turn it back off. But that's a lovely piece of kit. That and that, along with, what else? Something else I bought, rotary table, which I did put a video on. And it's now sold, a proper indexing one with a huge chuck. It was an 8-inch chuck, and the chuck alone, I couldn't even lift the damn thing, it was that heavy. And I sold that on eBay, and I don't know whether I'll be selling this. I don't know what to do. The thing is with that's retailed at 560 quid. The cheapest I found, 560 some pound, brand new. It's not brand new, and it's got a little bit of scuffing on it, but other than that, it's pretty immaculate. I don't know whether I'll ever use it. It's the sort of thing you'd do if you were making a boiler for a steam engine, innit? A copper boiler or something, and you want to do markings for holes and tubes and one thing and another. Lovely thing, but probably out of my depth. I dare tell you how much I paid for them, but I bought them at a proper industrial auction, and I had to go to Chesterfield to pick them up from an engineering works that had gone bust, as loads of them have. Okay guys, I think that's probably just about enough, but we'll do a finish off. Hi all, I hope you all have a happy new year. It's the 3rd of January now, and I'm sure that a lot of you made New Year resolutions. Let's hope you keep up to them, depending on what they might be. Could be vices, smoking, drinking too much coffee maybe, who knows. And I hope you stick to them. So let's hope 2022 is going to be a damn sight better than 2021 and 2020. I mean, me and Bev did get away to Fuerteventura, of which I did put a couple of videos on. They're not very good, but eating out in Fuerteventura were one of them, and we enjoyed ourselves. We did okay, so at least we did get away in 2021, albeit it was September. We lost 2 holidays prior to that because of the lockdown. It was been a nightmare, hasn't it? Just been a nightmare. My next door neighbours that way, the whole household, we've just found out, been down over Christmas, all got COVID. Lots of my friends got COVID. I've escaped it so far. But yeah, quite a lot of people I know. See, when the Delta were out, at first it were like, I don't know anybody who's got COVID, do you? You know, that sort of thing. Oh yeah, a fella down there died, and you know, so-and-so's in hospital. And I did find out towards the end of it, there were a couple of my friends that had got it, and one of them ended up quite bad. One died, unfortunately. And he wasn't that, well, he was in his early 60s, I think. But he wasn't an ill fellow, but anyway, it got him, did Delta. This Omicron just seems to be like a bad cold, doesn't it? It don't seem to be affecting people. My son got it on Christmas Eve, well, one Christmas Eve. We were having a bash round here Christmas Eve. There were going to be 10 of us, all my family and my grandkids. And my son got it. So that were it, that put paid to that, we couldn't do it. And we said, well, you know what? In the new year, New Year's Eve on New Year's Day, we'll have a bash and we'll have everyone round. 2 days before New Year's Day, my son-in-law got it. His family got it. My family, my daughter and my 2 grandkids didn't get it. And they still haven't got it. But my grandson, my son-in-law, Adam, he's got it. His mechanics have all got it. They've had to shut the workshop. Mum and Dad, they've had to shut the tyre business down. It's a nightmare. But none of them are ill. They're all sniffly, sore throat, bit of a cold, bit of an headache. And within about 4 days, they all seem to be okay again. And within a couple of days after that, they're showing clear. So let's keep us fingers crossed for 2022 that we all have a good year. Lots of time in the workshop. Let's make things okay, guys. Let's move on. Right, guys, so that's the end of it, really. I've shown you most of the stuff I've got. Knowing me and how forgetful I am and all the drawers and things I've got, there'll be lots of other things I've not shown you. But for those that are thinking of buying a milling machine, it'll give you a good insight of the things that you can get for a milling machine, and indeed the things that you probably would need if you're going to start with a milling machine. Just remember this: if you buy a milling machine from some of these Chinese manufacturers, and some of them are in UK, I know Acme Thread, Warco, there's a few Axminster, they're all I believe Chinese made, and quite a few of them come with things that extras that you wouldn't think it would come with. Usually a set of spanners and a little toolbox. Odd ones have come with ices, and some come with some cutters and some holding features. So some of them do come with stuff, and a lot of them, if you buy a second-hand one, the sky's the limit, isn't it? I mean, how often do you see a second-hand lathe for sale, a bereavement sale or whatever, and it comes with all sorts. They'll come with a 3-jaw chuck, 4-jaw chuck, tailstock tools and chucks and cutting tools, all sorts of stuff. Milling machines are the same. You get somebody who's got a milling machine that's had enough with it and decides he's packing in, especially if he's an hobby engineer sort of guy, been making a lot of things. He might just sell you as a job lot. You get the milling machine and all the tools with it, and it might be enough to keep you going without buying anything. So yeah, it's sky's the limit really when you're looking at a milling machine, or a lathe indeed. But I've given you an insight and I've shown you a lot of tools I've got. There's a lot more, don't forget, and a lot more stuff that I haven't got, that people have got, that do all sorts of fancy work with. And like I said, you need a collet chuck. You'd ideally need a normal chuck for drilling holes, because it's also a drill, is a milling machine, isn't it, after all. And some sort of vise or holding fixture, some parallels, and some cutters, and away you go. And it's only when you start doing it and you buy some stock, some metal, I'd suggest, if you're going to start out and you've never done it before, buy some aluminium, some little blocks of aluminium, doesn't matter what it is, just chew away at it, draw something out, make something, a little ornament, anything, just something. And when you've made it, you start having ideas of what you want to make, or you might even want to do a little steam engine, or a little IC engine even, or something else. And then you'll think, well, what will I need for that? And then you'll get a bill of materials and you'll think, yeah, I want this cutter, I want that cutter, blah blah blah, and you'll get it all, you know, what you need. But just to start off with, just the bare minimum. Don't go silly, because if you do go silly, you'll buy stuff you don't need. But mark my words, you will buy stuff you don't need. And again, like I said, look on eBay and other auction sites for job lot. Look for engineering, milling cutters, things like that, job lot, and you'll get somewhere there might be a dozen or so cutters for sale. I know some people are going to say that's bad information. You shouldn't say that. Maybe you're right in a way, in that I could have been unlucky when I bought all mine. It did say that the cutters were brand new, and the guy were an ex-engineer and he'd had a hobby shop and he packed in, and I bought all the stuff off him. You could end up buying a load of cutters. Some of those Clarkson cutters I've got, they're all sharp and they've been done professionally on a machine, obviously, but they don't measure to what they should be. I think I was doing a slot and I wanted it 5/16. It was something to do with that nailing machine I made, and I wanted a 5/16 and I wanted to plunge through it. I didn't have a reamer that fit right, and I got this 5/16 one out. I put it down and I thought, oh my god, I've gone and drilled the hole too big, and it wasn't. When I measured the cutter, it had been ground down on a tool and cutter grinder, I guess, because it had been done beautifully and it looked like it were brand new, but it was undersized. So just beware there. And you could get some that are blunt or the end of the life. You could get a box. You do see sometimes the cardboard box or a wooden box or a tin full of bits and bats. Probably stay away from that, because you never know what's going to be in there. Somebody might have just thrown all the worn out cutters in there, and if you buy worn out cutters and you buy yourself a new milling machine, then you start trying to cut metal and think this milling machine's useless, and it's not the milling machine at all, it's the cutters. So just beware and don't just dive in and buy anything. But if you're careful, I've not had any bad luck. We've been really good. What I will say now is thank you very much for watching, and I hope this has been an insight for anyone who's thinking about buying a milling machine. It won't help Matty, it won't help John, and various other people that I'm subscribed to, and they are to me. It's not going to help them, because you're going to be telling them how to suck eggs, because they know 3 times as much as I do. So really, it's just for people who are thinking about buying a milling machine, or indeed have just bought one, and they'll maybe think, oh yeah, that's a good idea, or I'll get one of those cutters, etc, etc. So thanks for watching. Give us a thumbs up if you can. If you've never subscribed to this channel, do that as well. Go on. I think I've got 500 subscribers now. Whether I'm going to get any more, I don't know, but we can live in hope for 2022. Thank you very much, and goodbye. Hello? Have you gone? Oh, right, you're still here. Okay, something I forgot to tell you. My X-axis drive, as you know, I made from a Mondeo wiper motor, and it's great, and it's never let me down in any way whatsoever, other than the little speed control board I fitted. It doesn't seem to do anything. It doesn't slow it down or speed it up more than a few RPM. So I bought another one. Now I believe that'll be a voltage limiting one, and I think this is a current limiting one that I've bought. So I'm going to fit this one. It's a much better quality one. So I'm going to mount that inside, hopefully, if I can, there. And I hope it's going to work out. If not, then I'm going to have to think of something else. Either maybe take this pot off and desolder it and fit just the pot on there, and then this board will have to fit inside. But why am I telling you this? Because a few people have asked me about this and saying you talk about electrics and you think we all know about electrics, and some of us don't, and you lose me. So what I'm going to do is I'll do a little video. And what I'll do is I'll take the front off this and I'll show you what's inside. It's a mess, because I'm an electrician, so it's a mess. There'll be wires everywhere, and I'll hang the lid somewhere here so we can see what we're doing. And we'll have a go at fitting this new speed board and indeed see if it works. I just thought I'd add that on, so goodbye, definitely this time.